Friends, I welcome you all for today's session, specially focused towards the adjudication proceedings under the GST law. This particular session will be handled by GK Lakshimi Chart Accountant. I will be pitching in wherever required to supplement the aspects which you will be explaining. Before I get into this particular discussion, I want you to just understand certain aspects relating to a litigation. Though we generally say litigation, this particular is basically handling the tax disputes. Tax dispute is between whom? Between the taxpayer and the government, wherein the taxpayer is said to have done something which is not in accordance with the law, whereas the government, represented by the tax department, will come out and say, no, you should have done this, you should have done that, but you have violated certain provisions, hence certain actions are proposed or will be proposed against you, and they give an opportunity of hearing to such taxpayer to explain himself and defend his case. Why is this? Why can't the officer simply demand a tax and issue a show cause notice? It cannot be done so, because if it is done so, it would be against the principles of natural justice. What do you understand as principles of natural justice? Basically, any person who is supposed to be put into a worse position than what he is under the statute, he should be given an opportunity to explain his case, defend himself, that why the understanding against him is not correct. So, in that context, the tax authorities would give a notice. In that notice, they will say what the authorities is intending to do against the taxpayer, and that is called proposal. So what the tax authorities are proposing to do, and for why they are proposing to do, and they give them an opportunity to explain is why such action should not be taken. That is when the taxpayer is expected to come out and explain, put across his defense against that proposal. Based on that particular defense is what the authority is going to decide the matter. So in this background, we are going to discuss various provisions relating to show cause notices and take things forward. Next slide, please. The coverage for today's show cause notice is how to read a show cause notice. You cannot ask me, sir, we know English. You need not explain us how to read. That is not the context which we are saying. While reading, what aspects you need to know, what aspects you need to mark separately, and how important for you to concentrate on certain aspects in the notice, and which are those aspects is what is the essence of the discussion. So what are the elements we need to check? Areas, common areas where the show cause notice will be issued. Basically, presently, what are the issues which are covered under the notices? Then, for preparing a reply, how do we collate the facts with the corresponding documents, manner of responding to notices, and best practices for reply? In the course of it, there will be a couple of repetitions coming in the presentation for. But for the completeness of each of those aspects, that presentation is done, which you can surely be able to use those things. Okay. Before I hand over the proceeding to Lakshmi, I would like to, especially many of you who are listening here are students, or in the aspects or you're still to get to know about this particular area. For any tax matters, there are essentially three elements, three aspects which you need to know. Firstly, the levy. Without the levy, there cannot be a collection. What do you mean by levy? That gives the authorities the power to collect tax. If that aspect itself is not fulfilled, there is no question of further aspects to come in. So you need to focus on this aspect. If somebody says that you're liable to pay tax based on the income declared, you need to examine whether there is a levy at all or not. So hence, this aspect of the taxation would be very relevant. Once it is said that there is a levy, the next question which comes in is how much is the tax which needs to be paid? First of all, whether the tax is liable to be paid, then the next question, if it is to be paid, how much? That is where the assessment comes, where you need rate of tax, valuation, and exemption. After having ascertained that tax is payable, next question comes when the statute has defined that point in time where the taxes would be liable to be paid. So all these aspects requires to be seen once you are replying to the notice, and whether all these aspects are covered in the notice or not. Then only you will be able to appropriately address the proceedings in the notice. Okay, so now I hand over the proceedings to Lakshmi to take it forward.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. As sir has given already a brief about today's session, so we will be looking into the when the show cause notice would be issued, and how the show cause notice will be issued. What are the aspects which we need to see in the show cause notice, and how we can respond to the show cause notice. So all these aspects will be covered in today's presentation. So before going to directly to the show cause notice, so I've just taken a little of the background under which of the sections and notices can be issued under GST. So basically, if we see up to section 59, it is a procedural related, and section 59 is a self-assessment where we are assessing our taxes and making payment to the government. So post 59, whatever the aspects which are covered, if we can see, is are all the kind of notices which a department or a proper officer can issue on the taxpayer or an unregistered assessee, wherein he can ask for the documents or wherein he can give a discrepancy notices, or he can do a best judgment if any of the registered person has not filed their returns, or if any of the person who is supposed to be registered but not registered. So we'll see each and everything, and we'll also understand how it is different from the show cause notice. See here also, if we see section 61, that is a scrutiny assessment, scrutiny of returns, there also some kind of notice is issued. Whether this notice and a show cause notice, what we are referring, whether both are same or not, is also important to understand. So if we can see the scrutiny of return section 51, they have to issue a notice. So whether this notice and show cause notice issued under 73 are both are same? No, it is not the same. So if we can see the scrutiny of returns provision, in a scrutiny of returns provision, they can ask details with respect to the discrepancies which are identified based on the returns filed by the taxpayer or the assessee. So apart from this, they cannot ask anything else. They cannot confirm the demand, or they cannot ask further documents with respect to the discrepancy, or they cannot cross their jurisdiction or scope within the section. So similarly, when they can do a best judgment, when they do the best judgment assessment also, they issue a order. If we can see the section 63, that is non-filers, assess 62, that is non-filers, that is the taxpayer is registered, but he has not filed the returns. During that time, there is no notice at all issued. Even though it is coming under section 62, they are passing an order. So we'll see the example how it looks also. So we'll see the notice issued under section 61 also, and the order issued under section 62 also, and we'll also understand how it is different from the a show cause notice. If you can see, presently I have just given one demo notice which is issued under section 61, and also if we can see the note, the subject. Okay, if we can see this notice is issued under section 61 asking to respond for the discrepancies which are identified in GSTR1 versus GSTR3B. Even though this is named as a notice, it is not a show cause notice, and this is very much clearly evident from the provision itself, where it clearly shows that if you are not responding to this type of notices, then action under section 73, 74, or audit or search, any of the actions can be taken by the proper officer. So this notice is different from the a show cause notice. Next. This is the assessment order issued under section 62. So why I'm just giving references of this is just to understand what is show cause notice. Even though this is an assessment order issued under section 62, if we can see the section 62, it is bypassing the aspect of issue of show cause notice at all, because it is directly issuing an order under section 62 for the non-filers. Because if we can see the law, there is if GSTR 3B is not filed, there is a notice will be issued under GSTR 3A, and 15 days of time also will be given to file the returns. If that is also not done, then only they can pass an order under section 62. So what is the 60 order? Whether it is equivalent to show cause notice or it is next level to the show cause notice. So once it is once we can see it is an assessment order, so it is an order issued by the proper officer against the taxpayer for not filing the returns, and here the assessment of the demand would be made based on the best judgment method. This can be based on the previous month return filed by the assessee. They would have added certain percentage of the incremental to the sales, and they would have demanded the tax. So here if we can see, as it is an order, it need to be appealed to the next level, that is a JCCT in case of a commission state officers. In case it is a central, it may go to the additional commissioner appeals or commissioner of central tax appeals. So in this present section 62, there is no concept of show cause notice, and this is an order. Once it is an order, you have to file the appeal, and time limit provided under section 107 etc. will be applicable. Example, pre-deposit provision, or else to file the appeal within 3 months from the date of communication of the order. So those provisions of the act will be applicable whenever there is an order issued under section 62. So we should not get confused whether this is also a show cause notice. It is not a show cause notice, this is an order, and it is very important to address within 3 months. I've just expanded. Okay. So this is one of the notice. Here also, if we can see in the subject, this is also a notice. Whether this is a show cause notice? No. This is a notice intimating the intimating the taxpayer that their books are means that the proper officer wants to conduct a audit on the books of accounts of the taxpayer for the financial year 18-19. So this notice is not a show cause notice. This is merely a notice intimating that taxpayer books are going to be audited by the a proper officer. So this is different from the a show cause notice. Okay. Now, before going to the show cause notice, so there are three sections which we need to understand. We will be understanding that also in a due course. So before a show cause notice, what actions would have been taken by the proper officer? One, there may be an audit. Here, the scenario or a PPT which I have covered is merely an audit related. So, other than audit, also there may be a possibility that search would have been done, or investigation would have been conducted, or summons may be issued to the taxpayer to come and present the books of accounts, or an audit would have been conducted on the books of accounts of the taxpayer. Apart from that, there may be a scenarios where section 61 notice previously what we discussed. If there is any discrepancy between the returns itself, that is R1 and R3B. So if the taxpayer has not responded to such notice, then they may take action against section 73 or 74, and further for the financial year 24-25 onwards, section 74A would be applicable. So there are many circumstances for issue of a show cause notice. So show cause notice can be issued for any of the reasons which we discussed. So here in the PPT, I have taken like an audit. So once it is a audit is selected for an tax payer, so there will be a ADT 01 would be issued for them, intimating to conduct of the audit. Then audit will be conducted. Initially, observation would have been made that may be communicated to the taxpayer. And after getting the submissions or a response from the taxpayer, the final audit report would be issued by the proper officer. And if there are any points where the taxpayer and the proper officer is not agreeing to each other, so then that will go as a notice, or that will come, or the proper officer will issue such issues in a show cause notice. Show cause notice can be issued under section 73 or section 74, and we'll understand what is the difference between section 73 and 74 as well. And for the financial year 24-25 onwards, there is no section 73, no section 74. It is a clubbed single section, that is section 74A. We are just trying to understand what is 73 and 74 and why it is important also. So if we can see the section 73, a notice will be issued under section 73 where there is no fraud or no willful misstatement or no suppression with an intention to evade the payment of tax, or with an intention to avail the ineligible or irregular input tax credit. So if there is no such allegation in the show cause notice, that means it is issued under section 73. If there is an allegation of a fraud or a willful misstatement or a suppression with an intention to evade the tax, then it is issued under section 74. What is the difference if there is a fraud, if there is no fraud? If there is a fraud, then the time limit for the proper officer to issue the notice is more. If there is no fraud, then the time limit prescribed under section 73 is less. So if we can see for section 73, the order has to be passed within 3 years from the due date of filing the annual returns, in case of a tax or ineligible ITC, etc. In case of a refund, from the date of refund within 3 years, the order under section 73 has to be passed. Similarly, when it comes to with fraud cases, the time limit prescribed under section 74 is the order is required to be passed within 5 years. Why I'm stressing about order? Because 73 and 74 gives a due date to pass an order, and then it is given link to issue the show cause notice. So if we can see previously in previous slide, we saw what is the time limit for passing an order. Now we are coming back. What is the time in which they have to issue show cause notices for these kind of under this sections? So if we see section 73, it is 6 months prior to the, other than fraud, in case of a fraud or a misstatement or suppression, there is a time limit for them to issue a show cause notice, that is 6 months prior to the issuance of order. What is the time limit which we saw in the previous slide is 5 years. So it has to be issued before 4.5 years. A show cause notice to be issued, then only order has to be passed within 5 years of time. Similarly, in case of other than suppression cases, where the order has to be passed within 3 years and notice has to be issued before 3 months for completion of the 3 years. Okay, this is the present provision. Presently, the notices are issued under 73-74 because this is only applicable up to 23 and 24 financial year. So then we'll see what is section 74A. See, 74A, if we can see, there is no segregation of fraud cases and non-fraud cases with respect to the time for issue of an order or show cause notice. There is a difference with respect to the penalty, but there is no difference in a issue of a show cause notice, whether it is with fraud case or without fraud case. The time limit is same. What is the time limit? Issue of SCN within 42 months from the due date of annual return or date of erroneous refund claim or sanction. So there is a 42 months of time limit. Previously, if we have seen, there was for a non-fraud cases, the time limit to issue the notice or pass the order was only 3 years. Now it is 42 months to issue the show cause notice itself. Then how much time they've given for issue of an order? That means passing an offer order. So after issue of show cause notice, they're having a 12 months of time to pass or issue an order for such show cause notice. And this is not only the case. After 12 months also, it can be extended further 6 months by the commissioner or above the rank of joint commissioner with a reason in writing. So assume majority of cases they may extend 6 months, means 42 months plus 12 months plus 6 months is the time which is available with the proper officer to conclude any of the notices for the financial year 24-25 onwards. So the only difference what we need to understand here, in the previous, that is section 73-74, there was a bifurcation between the fraud cases and non-fraud cases, and also time limit was divided. And for fraud cases, they had given him more time to issue the notice and pass an order. And non-fraud cases, the time was given to the officers for very less. So wherever there is no fraud, the coverage or a time period for them to receive the notice was less. But under 74A, everything is clubbed together, and time for any cases is 42 months from the due date of annual return or erroneous refund cases. And if we can see, the only difference between here is penalty. In case of a fraud cases, the maximum penalty is equivalent to the tax demanded, that is 100% of the tax due. And in case of non-fraud cases, 10% or 10,000, whichever is higher. So this is the only one difference with respect to the fraud cases and non-fraud cases as of now, from the financial year 24-25 onwards. So we'll just see for what purposes show cause notices may be issued by the proper officer. So we have taken merely an example. Few of the examples we have taken. So one of the example is if there is any kind of non-compliances, then there is a chances of getting the show cause notice. And also if there is a short payment due to classification issue or rate issue or any kind of exemption we have claimed, but department officer or a proper officer is of the view that we are not eligible for the exemption for any of the conditions or any of the reasons. So for this reason also there is a possibility that show cause notice may be issued. If there is any irregular availment of input tax credit, that is a blocked credit or ineligible credit. So if any of such credits have been taken, so there is a possibility of issue of notice. And as we are very much aware that if there is any differences between any two returns, that is GSTR 1 versus 3B, or maybe possibility that they may take data from GSTR 7 and compare with the GSTR 3B of the taxpayer. And also there is a possibility that 26As can be compared with the 3B. So any kind of two reports or also very much famous issue is 2A versus 3B. Now 2B versus 3B. So this is one of the a common and major issue of notice under section 673. And also there may be a mismatch between one and e-way bill portal. This is also one of the issue which is coming up more. And if there is a failure to obtain the registration itself, even though they are liable to get the registration, and blocked credit on. And one more, recently the taxpayers are receiving more notices where there is an issue with respect to the place of supply. As per as it is an interstate supply, but department or a tax proper officer of the view that it is not interstate, it is intrastate. So whenever there is a wrong classification, so then also there is a notices. And also with respect to the reversal of ITC under 42 or 43 with respect to the exempted and taxable turnover. So there also we have seen many of the notices. These are all the small or common areas which we have taken. There are many more reasons wherein the show cause notices might have been issued or may be issued. Okay. So assume that we have received a show cause notice. So once we have issued a show cause notice, what is that we need to look once it is in front of us or once we have received? So first and foremost, once we receive any notice or any letter or any intimation, first we need to see what is it exactly, whether actually it is a show cause notice, because previously I showed few of the notices or intimations which is not a show cause notice. So first we need to identify what we have received, whether it is a normal notice that is seeking for the documents or a intimation under any of the other sections. For example, intimation to conduct an audit also, or notice under section 61 also. Notice under 61 is not a show cause notice, or it may be merely a letter seeking some documents without prescribing any of the sections. So first we need to ascertain what we have received is a show cause notice or not. So once you confirm that what we have received or what the taxpayer has received is a show cause notice, then first and foremost important aspect is track the date of receipt and keep the proof for date of receipt. I'll come to it later why it is very important. So how we can issue a show cause notice? If we see section 169, there are many modes for the department or the proper officer to communicate any type of notices or an letter or an order. So first we need to understand under which mode we have received the notice, whether it is through an email, whether it is to a normal speed post or a registered post, or whether it is uploaded in the GSTN. So any of the method it may be. So if you have received through an email, take that email print and keep it in the file, which we are going to create it for the show cause notice what we have received. So that we have a proof to tell when we have received the show cause notice. Always we have to preserve the proof for receipt of the show cause notice. And if it is in a speed post, take the envelope photocopy. And also if you can see in the speed post or a registered post, India post number will be there. So we have to track that number, and that printout also we have to keep it in our file along with the photocopy of the postal cover. That will be a proper proof to inform in the next course of action that the show cause notice was received on dash dash date. Then we have to see what is the time given in the show cause notice. If we see the law, there is a time limit for issue of a show cause notice as we discussed in the previous slides, but there is no time limit within which I need to respond to the show cause notice. When there is no time limit given in the law, then they have to follow a reasonable time. So they have to give a reasonable time for an assessee or a taxpayer to file the reply. They cannot tell that I'm issuing a show cause notice today, you give a reply tomorrow. So that is not a reasonable time. It should be minimum 15 days to 30 days of time they have to give to respond to a show cause notice. And also this time should not be counted from the date of the show cause notice. It should be counted from the date when we have received the show cause notice. So when we are discussing on the point number 3, then we are understanding the importance of keeping the track of when the show cause notice was received. So when we have the proof that we have received the show cause notice dash dash date, So from that date, we have a time of 15 to 30 days to respond to such show cause notice. And for example, show cause notice is issued. It's a quite big, containing lot of issues, and it may be for a bit older period, maybe 2021. Now we have received after 3-4 years of time. So if you are unable to collect the data, or if you are unable to identify the proper consultant, or if you are unable to draft within the such time, so there is always possibility that you can seek for extension of time to respond instead of keeping quiet that I'll respond in the next week. Okay, 30 days, 40 days, Allah, it's okay, fine. No, please don't do that. Whenever it is crossing 30 days, always file an extension, and wherever the show cause notice is uploaded in the portal, there itself you can upload the extension letter, or you can do a RPID or submit a letter to the concerned proper officer. So if we can see, two things we have to understand. Show cause notice may be issued by an assistant commissioner. Whether should we respond it to the same person, or should we respond it to the some other person? So if we see the state officers, they are following a different mechanism. Center officers are following different mechanism. So in the state, the person who does the audit, or who issue the show cause notice, he himself is doing the adjudication. So it will be always to the person who has issued the show cause notice, we have to respond. But when we come to the center, the mechanism or the procedure followed is little different. So if the audit and the show cause notice is issued by one person, so it will be transferred to the jurisdictional officer who can adjudicate the case of the assessee. So there is a two different persons who will be doing the audit and issue of show cause notice and adjudication of the show cause notice. So we have to always read the show cause notice. In the show cause notice, majority of the times they would have given to whom we have to submit the response. So always address the responses to the concerned proper officer, because if we address to some other person, then there is a chances of passing an ex parte order stating that there was no response received from the assessee or a taxpayer. And also, very important, whenever a show cause notice is issued, please see for the DIN, whether the DIN is mentioned in the show cause notice. Now, recently means this month, June itself, we have got one more circular from the CG, central, which may be followed by the state as well. If we can see the circular where it is stating that if the notices or any of the orders are uploaded in the portal, there is already a RFN number, that is reference number. So there is no need for DIN for such notices or an orders. So it is important now, whenever there is a portal notice, there is a possibility that DIN is not required to be mentioned by the officer. Whenever it is a manual notice or manual order or a manual letter, DIN is compulsory. So we have to look into this aspect whenever any letter or notice is issued. And also it is quite important, if there is any objections or any technical ground where you have to take to prove that the issue of the notice or a validity of the notice itself is invalid, that need to be responded immediately, or it should be put on record whenever we are responding to such notices. If we are not putting on record the preliminary objection, if we are not questioning the validity of the notice, then the possibility is under section 160 subsection 2, the notice will be valid even though it was invalid when it was issued, because we have not questioned the validity of the notice at the time of response. So it will become valid notice as per provision 160 subsection 2. So whenever any notice comes, see the validity of the notice. If it is not valid, first objection which need to be taken by us is on the validity of the notice itself. Later on, we can go on the merits as well. Okay, next, who is a proper officer? So it is very important to understand who can issue a notice to a taxpayer and what is its jurisdiction. So there is a circular which was issued in 2018, which is mentioning or providing a monetary limit. For example, if the demand is this much, this is the person who can issue a notice. If the demand is more than this, this is the person who can issue a notice. So we have to see what is the total demand in the show cause notice received by us and who has issued such show cause notice, whether does he have a proper jurisdiction to issue the show cause notice. And these circulars will be amended as and when it is required. So we have to see the updated circular and see the monetary limit. For example, if you can see, superintendent can issue for a 10 lakh of demand, that is 10 lakh of CGST plus SGST, it will become 20 lakh. And if it is more than 2 crores, additional or joint commissioner has to be issue the show cause notice. So this is quite important. Whenever we receive the notice, see whether the proper officer who has issued the notice, does he has the jurisdiction just to issue the notice. Okay. So once the notice is received, that's a common elements, whatever we have discussed, and little more are there which we need to take care. So once the notice is issued, so we have to thoroughly go through the show cause notice and also see under which provisions the show cause notice has been issued. Previously, I was also discussing about section 61 notice. So section 61 notice can be issued for intimating the discrepancy between two returns, which is already there in the portal. Apart from that, they cannot do anything. So in one of the case, what happened? Section 61 notice was issued seeking further documents or some documents. This is going beyond the jurisdiction from the scope of the section 61. So in the writ petition, what I have quoted in the PPT, it was held that the notice which has been issued under section 61 seeking further documents or some documents from the taxpayer, it is traveling beyond the scope and jurisdiction of the section, and such notice was quashed or it was set aside by the High Court. So it's very important to see whether under which section the notice has been issued, under which provisions the notice has been issued, whether they can issue a notice under that section or not. It is very important to understand. And also whenever the notice comes, first see, as there is no time limit prescribed in the law, see what is the time specified in the notice. And see to that, can you respond it within that time? If not, please file an extension seeking further time. And also see what is the specific allegations or grounds in the show cause notice, whether it is a vague or whether it is on assumption or presumption they have issued the notice. So we have to specifically know what facts is considered in the show cause notice, whatever may be the actual facts, but we have to see what is the fact which is based on which the show cause notice is issued. If that is correct, okay. If it is that is incorrect, we have to question the facts itself. When the facts mentioned in the notice is incorrect, please object it, raise a point on it, and prove the actual facts with support of the documentary evidences whenever there is a conflict in the facts itself. And also, if we can see, I think many people would have been seen section 155, that is burden of proof for availing the ITC is on taxpayer. Similarly, when there is a demand or when there is any rate which we have adopted but it is questioned by the proper officer, then burden of proof is on the officer to establish that the rate of tax for this goods is not 12% and 18%. Whether have they discharged the burden of proof in the show cause notice? If yes, how they have discharged it? Do they have any documentary evidence? Do they have any case law or do they have any circular or anything? So we have to see how the burden of proof is discharged by the proper officer. If it is not done, we have to question that also in our preliminary objections. And also, whenever a show cause notice is issued, how they will issue? One is that we should have provided some data for the audit. Based on that, they would have identified certain observations, or they would have taken a data from the GSTN portal or from third party, whatever it may be. So when a show cause notice tells that I propose to demand this much for this reason, what is the basis for such demand? If there is a basis, have they given such evidences and basis and documents for us along with the show cause notice? RUD is nothing but relied upon documents. To form any demand, there should be some evidence, some documents. Based on that, only a show cause notice can be issued. So always see at the end of the show cause notice, the relied upon documents list would have been given. Even if it is not given, when you have gone through the show cause notice, if they tell from your financial, there is a professional charges of 10 lakh rupees. So entire professional charges you are liable to pay under RCM. So from where they took the professional charges? Our financials. That's fine. They have to give our own financials as a relied upon document along with show cause notice. There is a possibility that they might have taken some other financials or they might have referred something else. So always take the documents based on which the show cause notice has been issued. If they have not given what need to be done, we have to first write a letter seeking or asking them to provide all the relied upon documents based on which the notice has been issued, and then also specifically mention after receiving the relied upon documents only we will be able to submit the reply. So we will be taking little more days, like 10 days or 15 days after receipt of the relied upon documents to submit the appropriate response to the show cause notice. So how we are going to ask orally? No, everything should be on record, and all the communications with the department or a proper officer should be kept in one file, maybe a soft copy or a hard copy, whatever way you are maintaining the records. So everything should be there in a file. And also if we can see, it is merely they cannot tell that this much you have to pay. They have to tell how much is the tax, how much is the interest, how much is the penalty. Everything should be mentioned in the show cause notice, and also we need to check whatever they have mentioned whether it is in accordance with the law. And also in case for the financial year, before the financial year 24-25, so 73-74 two sections are there. In case if the show cause notice is issued under section 74, you have to see what are the allegations in the show cause notice to tell that or to prove that the taxpayer has done some kind of fraud or misstatement or suppression with an intention to evade the tax. So whether this has been proved by them or not, whether it is merely an assumption and presumptions. So this is also need to be verified, and accordingly we have to give a reply countering those aspects in the show cause notice. Okay, before further going to the reply, so once show cause notice is issued by the taxpayer, majority of cases it may be given to the consultant. So once it comes to a consultant, what he has to see? He has to see the notice and also relied upon documents. If it is not there, then it is the consultant. He is required to ask for the relied upon documents from the taxpayer. If he also doesn't have, then he has to write a letter to the department to get the relied upon documents and also proof. So whenever we get any show cause notice, first we need to ask the client to give the proof of receipt before they dispose it off. And also we have to see what is the mode of service of the notice, whether it is merely uploaded in the portal, whether they have sent it in email, or we have received the hard copy of the notice, so that we can see actually when it is being communicated to the taxpayer, so that we can count the dates for the responding to the notice. And also jurisdiction we have to check, we have to already discussed, and name and address of the notice, whether it is proper or not. If there is any change in the address, so whenever you respond, just make one more point that communication address is this, or else it is difficult to receive the subsequent notices. And also we have to get the sequential events which led to issue of notice. See, when the client or a taxpayer comes to us with a show cause notice, we have to ascertain on what basis show cause notice has been issued. So what is the basis previous to the issue of show cause notice? Those sequential events documents need to be sought from the client so that we can understand the basis on which it was identified, what was our response, and how it is considered by the proper officer before issue of show cause notice, and in the show cause notice what is the allegation based on such details. So all the sequential documents, whatever has happened which led to issue of a notice, so entire documentation need to be collected before analyzing whether actually a taxpayer is liable or not. And also if there is any earlier communications or earlier proceedings. For example, if you can see, once the department audit is conducted for any of the financial for an SSE, it is like subsequently also they'll get the notices. It's like deemed. Once you have received a audit, subsequent audits are like they are going to issue, and especially when there are any observations, they'll come back every year. So, for example, if they've issued a notice for 22-23, go back and see whether any for previous financial year, for any of the financial year, notice has been issued, whether this issue was covered there also. In that case, presently under which section the show cause notice has been issued. In case if it is issued under 74, can they tell there is an allegation of fraud? No, previously they themselves has handled it. So there cannot be any allegation of fraud or suppression or any misstatement with an intention to evade tax. So previous audits and seeing the sequence of observation in the previous audit and the present audit observations and issue of the notice will give a fair idea how it is identified to the consultant so that they can take their decision and discussion. And also we have to interact with the client. So for example, we have got the show cause notice, we ascertain the facts in the show cause notice, then the actual discussion should start with the client to ascertain the actual facts. See, whatever the facts in the show cause notice may be correct, may not be correct, or partially correct. For that reason, it is always important to ascertain the facts from the taxpayer and then see how that facts are being interpreted wrongly, or maybe some of the facts may be ignored. So we have to ascertain what is the difference between the actual facts and facts in the notice. So based on that only 50% of the case will be, means 50% of the understanding of the issue will be easy. Post that we have to say actual issue. Okay. I just wanted to show one of the show cause notice so that it is easy for understanding how the show cause notice will be issued, how it is. We'll just see one notice and then we'll go how to read or how to draft a response. So I'm just taken one show cause notice of one of our client. So if we can see here, the show cause notice was issued based on the audit for the financial year 17-18 to 21-22. And if we can see how many observations are there, 8 observations are there. So different observations are there. So I want you to just see the observations. So and also if we can see each observation has a in a little more factual aspects, how it is taxable, everything in heading. So heading wise, facts and proposals has been made in the show cause notice. So now we have to address this 8 issues. So how we should address? We'll go it further. I think sir wanted to add something at this.
Just go to the top of the notice first. This page. You're not audible? I'm not audible? Yeah. You can just go on top. First page. Yeah. I think if you see the top, there is a address. If you notice this notice is being issued by the Office of the Commissioner of Central Taxes Audit. So, who is issuing this audit? Issuing this notice is from the audit wing, because this cause of action means what made this notice to be issued. So basically they did an audit. In the audit they found certain discrepancies. Having found the discrepancies in the audit, they asked the taxpayer to pay that amount, but finally he did not agree to pay. So consequently this notice is issued. Yeah. In this go up, little up, yeah. If you see here, it is being mentioned as summary of show cause notice. Actually, this is a mistake in this notice. This is not a summary of show cause notice. It is actually a show cause notice in itself. So again, what is the summary of show cause notice? When any show cause notice is issued by the authority, they are supposed to also upload in the portal summary of a show cause notice in form DRC01 for keeping a track of it in the portal. So hence, There will be one physical show cause notice, one summary of that in a portal where the amount, etc., will be mentioned. Now, we saw in the beginning that it is issued by the audit wing. You just go down last towards the end. Yeah, no, just who has signed. Okay, if you see here, it is signed by the Assistant Commissioner of Central Tax. So and so, so and so. If you see this notice, it is not signed at all, but merely mentioned as signed. Generally, if it's a digital signature, what comes out there is going to be different. So this particular notice is not at all signed. So then is it a valid show cause notice? In fact, recently courts have come out and said if a show cause notice is not signed, then there is no proceedings at all. So I need not even look into this, try to replay this at all. Especially many notices will be issued during the last couple of days of the due date for issue notice. If we raise this objection and say it is not a valid notice, I have received some paper which is not even signed. So I hope that I need not act on this letter. If we write a letter after the due date, I think their hands are tied, they cannot proceed further. In fact, recently such matters were taken up before the Andhra Pradesh High Court, wherein they challenged both show cause notices which were unsigned, orders which were unsigned. At which point in time, the tribunal, the High Court gave a liberty. Okay, don't worry. Some more mistake has happened. Let's consider that. We give a authority for the officers to issue a fresh notice with signature. Now take a situation where a show cause notice was unsigned. Based on that, an order is passed. Order is signed. Whether the order will be valid. When the show cause notice itself is not valid, order issued in a invalid proceedings is as good as is also invalid. This is what has been told in the last week by another high court. So there also, if already two notice was unsigned, order was signed, or notice was unsigned, order was unsigned, all those will get quashed and the fresh proceedings will start. As a fresh proceedings, they are going to start. So this is what I'm just trying to say. One small mistake can save the entire demand on the taxpayer. So how important to look at these aspects is also to be looked into. Okay. Next aspect which I want to highlight is that just now Lakshmi highlighted that relied upon document. When she mentioned RUD, RUD means relied upon document. See, the above allegations are based on the following relied upon documents. Final audit report, number so and so, financials, 2A, 3B, 9, etc. Now, whatever the issues they raise, it should be based on the facts emanating, coming out from these documents only. If they're saying something other than the facts which is not forthcoming from these two documents, I mean these many documents, then you can always say that your allegation or a facts is not supported by evidence. So I deny that fact. I deny that allegation. I need not produce anything in contrast to the same. Okay. Now, this notice is being issued by the audit wing. Yeah, just little there. If you see paragraph 14, if you are able to see, it says, now, therefore, Mr. So-and-so, so-and-so, having registered premise at so-and-so, so-and-so, he is hereby called upon to show cause. We have been using the word show cause notice. Show cause notice. That word is coming from here. So we are asking them Person, come here. Hey, Mr. Come here. Why I should not do this? This is against you. You show cause to me. Why I should not explain me why I should not do this. This is what is the show cause notice. This is essence. This is called a proposal. If you see, the notice was issued by audit. Can just go back. But whereas we are asked to report, asked to explain to Deputy Commissioner Central Excise Different Division. So it is not necessary that the person who issues a notice himself is going to decide the matter. This happens in the central tax notices where notices will be issued by the audit wing or investigation wing, but you are supposed to go and answer to the adjudication wing. Why is this? Because they want to keep there's one more principle in the that is in principles of natural justice. A person cannot be judged in his own case. That means if he has already done an investigation, if he has already done an audit, obviously you go and explain to him, he's not going to listen, he's going to confirm the order. So to have an independent examination, that segregation of the powers, the the adjudication scheme itself has been segregated that when any notice is issued by audit or investigation, the way you're going to explain the case, adjudication officer, is going to be different. So here the person signed is different and issuing is different than the person to whom you're going to respond or reply is different. So this is also one more aspect you need to see in the notice. Who is issuing? Whom I should file a reply? Simply we cannot address a reply to the audit because the notice has come from the audit. So you have to see this point where who has issued this note, I mean, whom I need to respond, and he's going to be a proper officer for the purpose of adjudication. Okay. And if you see as to why they're showing taxes, demand, etc., they're going to put across, based on which you're going to respond. So these are some things which you need to look at it in the show cause notice. And in the show cause notice, there will be, if you go, they're going to give a brief introduction of the taxpayer in the first paragraph. Who is he, whether registered, not registered. Next, they're going to explain from what point, how did they got this information to this notice to issue. Then what is their observation as to facts or the findings as to their, not findings, the basis where, how did the facts which they have noted down, and they will bring out what provisions are applicable to this particular case. And based on that provision in the given set of facts, what is the default which has occurred and what is the consequence of the same. And on that consequence, what is that you are liable to do and what they're asking you to do. So this is how the notices will be designed generally. If it is not so designed, always you can find some deficiency and take that as a point for objection in the reply which one you are filing. I think you can proceed further unless you want to add some more things in this. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. That's all I wanted to add actually. Next, as we have seen the show cause notice, how it is there, on how many issues it may be there. There is a chances that the notice may be issued only for the one point, or in the same show cause notice, there may be more than one point. The notice which we saw now, it contained 8 different issues. So now we'll understand how we have to respond to such kind of notices and what are the points which we need to keep in mind while drafting respond to the notices. Okay. So this slide, it will have a basics of the structure of the reply. So whenever a basic structure of the reply comes in, so first what we need to do is a facts. We have to ascertain the facts and we have to give a brief introduction on the entity or the person on whom the show cause notice has been issued. And what does it? If we saw the show cause notice, there they had already said this who is the person, whether he's registered or not, and what type of business he is handling. If it is correct, take the same things. If it is not correct, then ascertain the actual thing and put the actual facts in the response. And generally, what is the activity they do and what they have followed. That means what was their understanding. For example, I'll just take an example of the ice cream parlor where they're manufacturing, not manufacturing, they're assembling the ice creams, different flavors of the ice creams have been uh, put in the one glass and they're given a top with some fruits or some jellies or etc. Whether it is an, a manufacturing process or whether it is merely a trading of goods, and what is the understanding of the taxpayer during the relevant period time that we may require to bring out in one or two paragraph in the initial facts of the case itself. And then very much important is sequential facts. From the day one, for example, 1st July, they received the ADT01, and 7th July, they submitted the documents, and 15th July, they received one more notice for further documentation submission. On 25th of July, further documents were submitted. So this type of date and what happened. If you put a table also, it is good. Sequential facts, date, and what activity was happened. So first notice when we had received, second when we responded, second notice when we received, and for that when we responded, what are all the documents which we had given during the audit or investigation or search, etc., etc., and how the observations were communicated to me, and when did I receive, whether have I responded to that with the supporting documents or not, and ADT02 when it was received, and when the show cause notice was issued. Still, till the issue of notice, whatever happened prior to that, that need to be come in the facts of the case as a sequential facts. And based on this sequential facts, now show cause notice has been issued. And what is the proposal in the show cause notice? Proposal means what? Just now, sir read out that before whom the reply has to be filed, that is the assistant commissioner, and he has asked why I should not propose the following as to why I should not propose GST of 15 lakhs, why I should not propose interest on that 15 lakhs, penalty of this much. So this is the proposal. Show cause notice is not a confirmation of demand, it is merely a proposal why I should not demand or why I should not propose this much of money from you for this activities. So if you give a response and if he agrees, the case will get closed there itself. If you won't agree, then only the confirmation demand will come. That is the next stage. So proposals is what is a proposed against me and what are all the reasons for such a proposals. So this information should come in the facts of the case so that whoever reads the file, they'll understand what happened from the day one till the day end to issue the notice. So always it is important to give this facts and this sequence in the facts so that the officer also will understand properly. And even if anybody else take the file, they'll be able to ascertain the facts of the case and issue of the case. So this is the facts. After facts, what happens? We have to submit or we have to rebut the allegations in the show cause notice. So first, how the submission should come. Initially, first, we have to take a submissions on the preliminary objections. For example, whether the notice issued by the officer is proper or not. There's a jurisdictional issue. Whether the notice issued under 73 is correct or not. Whether the notice issued under 74 without any allegation of a fraud, whether it is correct or not. Whether can they issue a notice under section 50? Section 50 though doesn't give any power to issue a notice, but we have seen in many cases under section 50 also they have issued a notice. So then we have to bring out the preliminary objection by bringing out other facts like rules. Rule 142 prescribes under which section show cause notice can be issued, wherein the summary of DRC01 need to be uploaded. So in that situations, whatever the preliminary objections are there, first take the preliminary objection and also question the validity of the notice if the notice is not valid. And then list out the issues to be addressed or else framing of the questions or issues. In the present show cause notice, what we displayed previously, it contained 8 issues. So now I have to respond to the 8 issues Apart from that, I have to respond to the interest separately, penalty separately. If it is issued under section 74, then extension or invocation of 74 itself is invalid. So I have to make a number of headers under which I need to submit the response. Then for each heading, I have to submit the response with supporting documents. At the end, I have to always have a provision to do the additional submission and also plead for the personal hearing in the reply to show cause notice itself. Then I have to come back to the conclusion. What is that I want? What is the prior from this reply? So that is how the structure of the notice should be there. So here I have just given a submissions how we have to make. One is, as explained, validity of the notice, one submission should be there. Merits of the case. Here, if you see, I have just said submission on merits of the case. If the 8 issues are there, under merits of the case, 8 different headings should come. Because for each point, I have to address separately and submit my response separately. And also submission against invocation of extended period of limitation, that is 74 notice, why they have issued under 74, and if they have issued if they have imposed penalties under which sections, whether it is proper or not, if they have imposed interest, whether it is, if the tax itself is not payable, then interest will not come at all. So you have to see all the sequences and the submissions should be made or response should be made under these headings. The reply, we said submissions on merits to be made. How we have to make the submissions on merits? First, we have to ascertain, frame the issue. What is the issue? Whether it is a liability under reverse charge mechanism, or whether it is a ineligible input tax credit issue, or whether it is a 3B versus 1, or it is a 2A versus 3B, or it is a 26As versus 3B, or if it is a GSTR 7 versus 3B. So we have to ascertain overall what is the issue which need to be covered, and if there is any fact which is wrong on the record, please object it, or else proper officer may consider it is as accepted by the taxpayer. And also, whenever we are responding to the notices and if we are referring to any of the provisions of the law, so that need to be referred, and we have to keep it as a crisp and specific to the point. We should not drag too much. If we are referring section 15 for valuation, or else maybe a credit note related, extract the relevant provision and extract the relevant document, what it is there, and you can submit within 1 or 2 paragraphs how the tax liability reduced by us by way of a credit note issue is proper or not. So we have to see that. Now we have to see whether it is a issue is interpretational or not. So if it is a interpretation of law, for example, assume as per the taxpayer or as per the industry, they are paying tax at 12% for any of the goods or services, but department is of the view, or the proper officer is of the view that it comes under 18%, then I have to see whether this issue is already covered under erstwhile law. If it is already covered, there is already a views which was supporting the taxpayer's view, so I have to take the old decision, that is erstwhile law judgments can also be applied to the GST law. And also, if the entire industry is following the one rate of tax, that means it is not only me, the entire industry is of the view that the classification is this and rate of tax is this. So if that is the case, there is a bona fide belief for me to pay the tax at 12% and carry out the business. So in these circumstances, if there is an interpretational issue, extended period, that means section 74 notice cannot be issued. So this is also one of the major point which we need to be covered in our reply to the notice. And if it is a classification issue, then we have to get into the HSN classification, and also we have to see what is the classification which we have followed and what is the classification which the proper officer is following. Recently, in one of the case where we were discussing about our client was manufacturing the seat covers for a car seat covers, and it is a cover which will be affixed on the foam of the car seat. So the issue was whether the car seat manufactured by the client or a taxpayer is a part of the seat or an accessory of the seat. So only for this difference, there was a show cause notice demanding the differential rate of, I think 10% or a 6% differential rate was demanded. We classified it under 18% under Chapter 94. So the proper officer wanted to classify it under Chapter 87 with a 28% of tax. So here we have to get into the HSN explanatory notes and ascertain what is covered under Chapter 94 and what is actually was covered in Chapter 89, whether is there any link between those two chapters and whether any specific exclusion in the chapters itself, this product will not be covered under this chapter and it has to go to the some other chapter. So for this, we have to read the HSN classification provisions and explanatory notes to the HSN so that we can arrive at the decision. And this type of classification issues, we have to bring out the facts on records, actual facts. In our case, if we see the seat manufacturer was not an accessory, it is a part of the seat because it was affixed on the foam of the seat. So once the seat is manufactured on the foam, the cover was affixed and it could have not been removed without any damage. So what we did, we took the process, how the process happened, and we also took the photos, how the raw material was and how it was converted into the proper seat after the seat cover. So this will help us to present our case to the officer in a better manner. And also when they look into the process and the photographs, the understanding of the officers of the facts would be easy. So whenever there is a requirement of a flow chart or whenever there is a requirement of presenting some photos, so that need to be presented in the it should be covered in a fact or else in the submission in a very brief manner so that it will help the assessee to or a taxpayer to fight the case properly. So whenever it is come to the classification, reference of HSN is very essential. And we have to see the show cause notice from where they have taken the HSN explanatory notes, whether it is proper, whether it is belonged into the same chapter or not. So these aspects also need to be taken. And if it is related to the valuation or a tax computation related aspects, then we have to present the response in a calculation tables. For example, reconciliation statements or anything is required that need to be presented in the reply for a better understanding and in a better way of presenting the case. And also for each and everything. For example, I said HSN classification. So that means we may require to download it from the HSN website, or if you have a paid version of the HSN, we have to take it from there. So whatever we have relied on, so each and everything need to be annexed and supported with the show cause notice, reply to the show cause notice. How we discussed when the show cause notice was issued, the basis on which the notice is issued to be supported along with the notice. Similarly, the basis on which our reply has been submitted, if there is any documents which need to be proved, unless and until it is accepted in the show cause notice, we have to enclose those annexures or supporting documents along with the reply to the show cause notice. I think here in this PPT, in this slide, I have to cover only one issue, alternative plea. Assume I have a merits cases. Yes, it is 18% only. It is not 28%. So I am correct. So I've given all type of facts, everything fine. In case if it is not accepted, what else should be my submission? See, as a taxpayer, as a consultant, we have to see what is the first relief, which is basically on merits. And in case if it is not going to happen, what is the alternative please I need to place in my reply to the show cause notice? Whether it may be on the valuation basis or whether it may be a come tax benefit which need to be sought. I have not at all collected the tax. So whatever the amount I've collected should be inclusive of tax. And also, if there is any credit notes raised, usually what happens, they would have taken the total turnover as per the sales. Sometimes sales in the P&L account may be after netting of credit note. Sometimes credit note may be on the debit side of the P&L account. There is a possibility of difference in accounting maintaining there. So in that situation, if there is any valuation points, or if there is any other exemption points, or if there is a come tax benefit points, so these are all the alternative pleas which need to be addressed and responded in the reply to show cause notice. Okay, this is already discussed. The explanation should be done with the help of tables, flow charts, or any other tools which is required based on the case to case basis. And also, if there is any, sir, you want to add anything?
You continue after that.
Okay. So if there is any timeline given, so within that we have to respond. If not possible, we have to seek the extension, and addressing the response to the proper officer is very important. And if there is a too many points, then we have to see the we have to prepare a reply comprehensively, and it should be categorically a reply has to be done. For example, if we see the show cause notice, 8 issues were there. So each issue give a separate heading and subheadings in within the issue to respond to the giving a response to such issue. Got it. Okay. And also certain points which we need to keep in mind. We'll see if there is anything which is not repeated. I'll just take it up. Alternative classification we have discussed. Whether SCN has proved the taxability we have discussed. And also we have to see whether any of the issue when it comes up, we have to look apart from the facts of the case. We have to also see is there any decisions on such issue which is already decided the present issue. And also we have to see is there any is there any discussion on the GST council. I'll just give an example here. Now there is a duty scripts which we sell the duty scripts whether ITC need to be reversed because it comes under a exempted. It is covered as a exempted goods. So now if we can see the rule 43, they included that no need to reverse a ITC in case if it is a script. But it was included post 2021. So in that situation, inserted in 2021. So whether it is retrospective or a prospective. If the officer tell it is prospective, then what happens to the old? So in that situation, it is always recommended to see the agenda of the GST council meeting and also what is the discussion made in the GST council meeting to insert such entry in rule 43 explanation. So if we see for the present example in the GST council meeting, the discussion is in the nature to state that it is in the nature of clarificatory. It's like a clarification we are giving in case if you are selling a duty scripts that is based on your exports that may be exempted, but proportionate ITC is not required to be reversible. So that is a discussion of the council. But the officer are taking a view that no, it is inserted by this notification. That means it is coming effective only from the 2021 onwards. Prior to that, it is not there. So you have to reverse the ITC. So in these situations, we have to refer to the GST discussions made in the GST council meetings as well. And also we have to see whether for this issue, whether any circular has been issued or not. Previous issue that is the seat cover, there was a circular, but that is not for a part of the seat, but it is parts of the motor vehicle. So whether can we place a reliance from that also need to be seen. So always there will be some kind of link or I can adopt the rationale of the discussion or a basis on which the circular was issued. So that rationale may be helpful for our case. And also we have to see whether the procedure or whether the rate adopted by us is it industry practice, whether everybody is following the same thing or only I am doing it. If it is an industry practice, then always go for a representation before the GST council. And also see whether any representations have been made. It may be taken on record in the council meeting, but no action should have been taken. So in that cases, we can ask the officer to keep it in a call book or pending till the time some clarity on the such issue is issued. And also we have to see is there any conflicting judgment for the issue. So one court may tell yes, what you have done is correct. Another court may tell no, what you have done is wrong. So now when there is a conflict judgment, there is always a doubt. When there is a doubt, extended period, that is 74 cannot be invoked. So these are all the things which need to be kept in mind. And also we need to see, first we saw the issue on merits, whether it is liable or not, whether I'm liable to pay under RCM or not, whatever may be the thing. Next, we need to see whether the valuation and computation done in the show cause notice is proper or not. So there is maybe always there is a possibility of arithmetical error as well. For example, when entering 10 lakh may become 1 crore. So there is a vice versa cases may also happen. And also they may tell that there is a deduction of this much. 1/3 deduction need to be given. But at the end, they would have not given at all when they have assessed the final liability. So we have to recheck the valuation adopted by in that show cause notice, and also computation of the tax made in the show cause notice is always required to be re-verified. If it is proper, no problem. If it is not proper, then we have to submit that plea also in our reply to the show cause notice, and also see whether, for example, I was not liable, so I'm not registered, so I've not paid the tax, I've not collected the tax. In that situation, we have to also see if I was registered, I would have collected the tax and also I would have taken the ITC. So can the benefit of the ITC can be asked at the stage of show cause notice, means after issue of the notice. Erstwhile now there is a Supreme Court decision in case of Formica. So wherein it is held, if there is a liability which is confirmed at a later stage, then whatever the corresponding benefit should have been given to the taxpayer because of that liability is also required to be given at future date. So by adopting any or majority of the old or erstwhile case laws, in GST also we can alternatively plea if my activity is liable and the ITC is required to be, benefit of the input tax credit also required to be extended. So this type of pleas we need to make. If we are not made, so again we can take at later stage, but facts related any of the submission need to be made at the beginning of the reply itself. Verification whether SCN is issued penalty or interest, whether it is properly invoke the sections we need to see. And if there is any delay in payment of tax due to any technical lapse from the GSTN portal or any of the departmental mistakes or issues, then I should not be penalized with interest because I was ready to pay, but department portal was not ready to accept it, or there may be a possibility it was in the cash ledger, but it was not offsetted, or there are any other possibilities. In that situation, there cannot be a allegation of evasion of tax, and also there is a possibility to plead that interest should not be attracted as it was already there in the cash ledger, or it was a mistake of the portal due to which we could not file the we could not pay the taxes. Along with reply, all the supporting documents should go. That is already explained. And also, yeah, any of the submissions which you are making requires any external certifications to support your line of argument. It may be from a CA, or it may be from a cost accountant, or it may be from an architecture if it is in case of land, means works contract related or real estate issues, anything. So we have to see how we can take a secondary evidences. First evidence or preliminary evidences will be for our facts of the case, but how I can support with secondary evidences through a certificates. If which is possible, it is always suggested to avail such type of certificates and enclose along with the reply, because that will make our response to the notice bit strong, and it is easy for to convince the officer also when there is a secondary evidence is called certificates. And also if there is earlier correspondence which you are relying it on, for example section 74 notice has been issued but initially also audit was conducted. So if you are relying on the previous audit report, in that situation we have to make that also as a part of the annexure or a supporting documents to the reply. And also whenever we are going to submit the reply, specifically seek for the personal hearing in the covering letter always in the portal also. And in the portal, we have seen that if you are not filing the show cause notice reply within the given period of time, they are blocking it. They are not at all giving you an option to tick for the personal hearing option. In that situation, in the letter specifically mentioned that you would like to hear personally for this case, and also take a acknowledgement for each and every reply or a document submitted to the department, and whatever we submit should be serially numbered, index should be formed, and once you submit it, keep the acknowledgement for your file purpose. Yeah, I think you can add if you want to add anything. So.
No, you conclude it, after that I'll take over.
Okay.
It's already, I think we already covered many of this.
Yeah, that's what. Relied upon documents are covered. All the correspondence, how it needs to be addressed is covered. So these are all the best practices which need to be followed. Audits are covered. And wherever the photocopy is required to be submitted. So one more thing, whenever you are submitting any circular or a notification or a case law, always take the print from the actual software or the actual website, so that it should be proved that it is downloaded from the proper website. You should not copy paste it to the Word and then do the formatting and submit. It looks like you have there may be a possibility of edition from your side. They may feel like that. So always download the circular or notifications or anything from the government websites itself. Paragraph. Didn't we have already discussed? And one more thing, whatever you are submitting, see that whatever is relevant for such submission, such documents only need to be submitted. You should not submit more also. If you submit less also fine. At the time of personal hearing, you can request for the time to submit few more documents, but you should not submit more documents, especially during the audit or investigation. Whatever the documents are sought by the proper officer, please submit only to that extent only. If they ask some other documents, you can question them why that document is required also. So unnecessary, if you submit some documents, if they identify some other issue, they can forget the old issue and they can take up the new issue and they can issue a notice for that. So always see to that what is sought, give only to that extent. Don't give more data to them. And always keep a time limit to submit the additional submissions post hearing, if any submissions you want to make.
Just go a couple of slides before.
Yeah, sir, I just 1 minute. Sir.
By the time before she takes up, I would ask the participants if they have any queries, questions to ask. Then I'll conclude with some concluding remarks. After that, we can get into a technical session. Yeah, you can be there at best practices. First slide of the best practices. I want the participants, if they have any questions, they can raise hands or they can, unmute and ask a question. Otherwise, I will go and try to explain. Anybody? Gives a two impression with the participants. Either the participants have completely understood thoroughly of what we are talking about, or they have not at all understood anything. And also the third possibility is that they are not even giving ears to what is being happening over here. I think irrespective of that, I want to conclude on a couple of points. Then we can move on to the technical session. First and foremost thing, how important this topic is for any professional who is in the finance sector. GST is something without which any transaction cannot happen. And every taxpayer today at least 95% of the taxpayers have been fastened with the notices. As a statutory auditor or as an internal auditor, if you are not in a position to understand the proceedings of a show cause notice, which is applicable equally under your income tax or for that matter company law or any other law, then actually you're failing in your duties in execution of your function as a professional. Now, what is your role as a taxpayer in responding to the notices? Is it that you have to establish that you are right? Or is it enough that you just answer to the queries raised in the notice? It is not necessary to prove yourself right. It is sufficient that what they have said is explained to be not correct. I'll take an example. Certain goods were said to be classifiable under chapter 68. But actually the rate of tax under 68 is 18%. You have classified under chapter 30 something, where you are charged 12%. But the right classification falls somewhere under different chapter, maybe around 40s. Now, show cause notice says you should have classified the goods under 68. In the reply, you have to only explain why the goods are not classifiable under 68. You need not explain why the goods are classifiable under chapter 30, where you have classified. So that is what I meant to say. Many a case, this is how they can, the taxpayers' mistake can be saved and the demand can be saved. Ultimately, the objective and the purpose of replying to notice is to get out of the demand which has been casted on the taxpayer and nothing beyond that. So that being the case, your focus and essence of your submission should be to address each and every point which is raised in the notice. One more important thing which you need to know while drafting reply or reading a notice is to understand the English language over there. What is that they are trying to say? And respond to that. If your wrong understanding of the notice can lead to a giving a reply, leaving out the main point and addressing something which is peripheral, which is not called the main aspect, and that can actually cause a lot of problem for the case at a later point in time. Till now, in the GST litigation, most of the litigation have been only number game, comparing this number to that number to this number. Beyond that, nothing seems to have been happening. But the real litigation is yet to start, where the core aspects of differentiation is going to come. The evidences, documents, all those aspects are going to come. Hence, it is essential that we need to get to know these principles, what we are talking about today. I talked about relate upon documents. We talked about, burden of proof. We brought about the additional evidences. We talked about additional submissions, the legal grounds, factual grounds. So these are some things, each of this has a rule in this adjudication proceedings. Coming into generally we're all professionals, audit or any other routine work where the valuation which can be given to the client, if it is involving whatever X value, but succeeding in a litigation can be 10x, 50x, 100x of the value addition. depending upon the quantum involved in the case. So hence, the more valued the professional comes in the litigation sector, where the professionals are more appreciated, that is where I think this particular subject aspect needs to be looked into and taken care and addressed. I think with these brief, I wish to conclude. Before I conclude, I think there's one question. After that, I think I request Delibabu to give a 5 minutes to 10 minutes break before we start, because we need something to speak here. So, okay, just give me some questions have come. Somebody had messaged me. Lakshmi, I've got. Okay.
Yeah, the
So
state.
the state tax authorities waive off penalty if the tax is paid along with within 30 days of issue of SCN is same relief given by the central authorities. Okay. See, please note that if a show cause notice is issued under section 73, 73 subsection 5 and 6 enables the taxpayer to settle the matter by payment of tax along with interest within 30 days of issue of show cause notice. If it is done so, the entire penalty payable under that is going to be waived. This is nobody's discretion. It is a mandatory statutory entitled right to the taxpayer. So it can be a state authorities or central authorities. It does not really matter. Irrespective of that, whoever does that comply with it are eligible for the benefit of waiver. It need not be allowed by the authorities specifically. But at the same time, if the notice is issued in section 74, there is no such, this is not an automatic where there, if a tax plus interest plus 15% of tax is paid as penalty, the entire, no notice itself should be issued. On the other hand, if it is paid within 30 days, then that 15% will become 25%. In other words, the entire tax amount, interest, and 25% of the tax as penalty if it's paid within 30 days of issue of notice, the entire proceedings will get concluded. So I think these are some things which I thought I just, and more importantly, you have to be very clear in your prior, what is the relief you are seeking for in this particular proceedings. That should be very clear, crisply written, and if you are not envisaging that prior, then the entire discussion which you are trying to make may be lost. So it is important for you to focus on that as well. Okay. So any other questions? Okay. So any other questions? No. No, you can scroll down to the last slide. Any other question from the participants? Otherwise, we can conclude here. Lakshmi, you can exit the PPT. Delibabu, you can take over, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. I think you have done very good session in part of today's first session. Yeah, it's very, very good information, and it will help lots to users there in regular practice. Anyhow, thank you, sir. I'm just sharing my screen. Hi, all. Good evening once again. Yeah, today I'm just taking tech updates. Here we are going to show you today Zoho flow with automations. how it will help for our regular day-to-day activities, and also how the premium organizations are using these automations, how they are using effectively, and how they are saving more time for automation, and how they are getting accurate data. Number one. Number two, here there are many automations application, not only Zoho Flow. Before going to the session, I'm just want to ask question to all the participants. How many of you know Zoho Flow or any other flow, workflow management applications? Can you put it in chat? That will help a lot for us to go through on it. Yeah, again, I'm repeating my question. How many of you know Zoho Flow or any other automation applications like basics? Or have you heard about it? Okay, there is no chat message from anybody. Is my voice is audible? Stephen, is my voice is audible? Hello.
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, here Zoho Flow. Zoho Flow is a automation application. Using Zoho Flow, we can automate, we can integrate with many applications. Currently, they are supporting around 950 plus applications. Just giving you an example, Google sees to Zoho Books, Google sees to some Facebooks, social media applications, Alien Books, Wings. You can integrate with many applications. In Zoho only, there are around 40 plus applications. You can integrate Zoho Books to Zoho CRM, Zoho CRM to Zoho People, Zoho Recruit, Zoho Desk Projects. There are many applications you can integrate using Zoho Flow. Today, I'm just going to take one small use case to understand Zoho Flow, how it will help us our regular day-to-day activities. The simple use case, if you give your inputs in your Google Sheet, then the agenda is to transfer that minimal information to Zoho Books to create one customer, with the same information to create as a lead in Zoho CRM, and if there is any branches or any specific departments to handle that specific services, you want to transfer within the Google Sheets as a separate workbook, you can transfer maybe to create this kind of separate workbooks to handle the data security and data misuse. Suppose if you have 5 6 departments within your company, we are getting some leads, you want to segregate and give access from Google Sheet itself. You can create, for example, Bangalore branch, there is one person. If you want to create one separate worksheet, you can create and transfer that information to that worksheet using Zoho Flow. For Hyderabad, you can create separate workbook and you can transfer that information to Hyderabad worksheet. That we are going to see in our practical session now. This is the agenda. Just using that input, we can transfer that information to various applications using Zoho Flow. That's what our agenda, and I'm just taking that simple use case. Okay, I'm going to show you the practical session. Until now, if you have any doubts, questions, clarification, you can ping through chat. Yeah, here I'm already having one Zoho Flow account. Just in Google also, you can go and search Zoho Flow. Again, I'm telling you, Zoho Flow is only automation application. You can create your workflows and automations using Zoho Flow. Similar to Zoho Flow, there are many applications like Power Automate is Windows offering application. There are some other applications, Make.com. There is one more application, Kissflow. There are many applications. But Zoho Flow is developed by Zoho. They are from Chennai. This very user-friendly application comparatively Windows and other applications. If you have more practice, you can use that other applications also. Nowadays, there are many channels you can watch and you can use that applications as well. But Zoho Flow is very simple application. Anyone can operate that application. Yeah. So just in Google, if you search Zoho Flow, it will come the first one. Maybe you'll have to sign up if you don't have login. Just using the sign up method, you can log into Zoho Flow. I already have a sign up. I have account. I'm just creating one folder here. Yeah. Here we can create multiple flows. Before going to creating flows, we'll just create Google Sheets to take some inputs from our customers, or if they inquire through our website, we'll create one form and we'll publish through our websites. Maybe if you have already that kind of setup in your website, you can take that input as well. Just I'm going to create one small input form using Google Sheets. See here in email also there is a app option. Through app option you can go and search, or you can click on this Sheets option, Sheets app. It will redirect to your Sheets. Here we'll go and create one new sheet, spreadsheet. Just contact form. These are just input form. Here only we can create one custom form to take inputs from our customers or inquiries. Usually if you go in any company website, they will give me with minimal information form only. The same thing I'm customizing here. This is also one kind of learning for you if you are attempting it in first time. These are all minimal information we may expect from our customers. Company name, location, which is fine. Minimal fields will go with minimal fields. Okay, I'll show you from preview. Contact name, mobile number, email ID, company name, location, their requirement. Here we'll publish it. Yeah, this form customization is completed. Now we'll go and create one record. The response table is created, that sheet also is inserted. This is a form. Simply I'm just give me a second. Sorry. Just to show you, if I fill here, it will go on updating that sheet. Then we'll try to integrate that data with Zoho Books, Zoho CRM, and other Google spreadsheets. Just if I submit here, it will go and update here. Yeah, now the agenda is to transfer this information to my Zoho books as a customer. For that, we can use Zoho Flow and create one workflow. Automatically, it will transfer that information to books. Before going to books, we'll try to transfer this information to another Google Sheet. I'm just creating one more spreadsheet. If there is any requirements from Bangalore, just I wanted to transfer to this one, Bangalore spreadsheet. If anybody inquired from Bangalore, then automatically I wanted to transfer to this workbook, because we can give this workbook to the Bangalore team. If you see here, if anybody submit Bangalore or Mumbai, Hyderabad, wherever the cities, that all information will come and settle to here. But if you give this complete access to the all the person, there may be some confusion. There may be some uh, uh, mismatches, or they may use for some other purposes. There may be some gaps. Instead of that, we can use Zoho Flow and we can transfer to Bangalore spreadsheet of that Bangalore related location inquiries. Then they can easily access and they can use their data only. Okay, now we'll go to Zoho Flow. Yeah, I'll come to Zoho Flow here. This is the dashboard. Here we can create multiple flows. This is settings. There are multiple options in settings. Now I'm not going to cover these are all settings. Just directly I'm creating from VNV demo 2. Here I'm creating one flow. Wherever you have confusion or if you have any questions, you just let me know through chat. Here I'm just creating transfer from us to VLR. Just one identification name only. Here in Zoho Flow, there are multiple options. Here I'm just quickly I will explain about these are all the features. Here they given app option, schedule option, webhook, URL, email, RSS. There are some subflow option also. Using this modules, we can create various workflows. I'll tell you one by one how it will help. Number one, app. App means directly Zoho Flow itself has given 950 plus apps for integration purpose. You no need to go with any scripting, API, documentation. Nothing is required. Simply go and select that app that it will ask authentication. You just authenticate it just using username and password. Then it will directly allow to transfer the data to that specific application. The second thing, schedule. Here you can create schedules based on daily, weekly, monthly to transfer that received information to that specific your targeted application. Then webhook. Here webhook, if you use webhook, this is one of the good feature in Zoho Flow. In webhook also, you just that webhook will give an URL. Using that URL from external application, you can transfer your information to Zoho Flow. Using that information, you can transfer that to your targeted applications. Suppose sometimes if that application don't have functionality to send information to Zoho Flow like API integration facility, at least if they can able to provide their end API, we can get the data using URLs. That's what they given both the functionalities. Then email, you can configure some specific emails whenever you're receiving, taking that inputs and you can transfer to your targeted application. Then RSS feed automation, maybe there is any maybe social media. There are many applications you can read that information, you can transfer to specific applications. Then subflow, there are this is recently they added subflow function. This is very good module. You can using this one also same way like app only. You can transfer your information to third party application, but here there is some sub level options. Maybe if I see in that flow, maybe you can able to understand. Maybe whenever you're receiving data, there may be some sub level of data. Using that one and fetching that information and transferring to the third party application, the sub levels reading, the looping system they given in subflow. That's how it will help. In app, you can ask why is it available or not in app. App is not there. In app, if you want to operate similar kind of subflow, then they have given custom function. Using custom function, you need to write one deluge script to fetch that sub-level information. Then you need to construct one layer. Then we have to transfer to targeted application. That is how these are all features they provided. There are 7 kind of triggers are there. Now I'm going to use app trigger. Just my agenda is to take that farm information. Then if there is a Bangalore related location information, then I'll have to transfer to Bangalore worksheet. That is how my first agenda. Okay, here I'm just see here there are 950 plus applications. But anyhow, my first requirement application is Google Sheet. Yeah, here it is. It's completely no code and low code application. You need to just select the functionalities and you can integrate that one. You don't need to write any script. You don't need to have any technical knowledge also. If you have some kind of workflow requirements, you can easily use and create your automations. See here, I'm just selecting Google Sheets trigger. Here they are showing 2 options: row added and worksheet created. Here I'm just taking row added option. Next. Here we can create a connection with that Google Sheets, because I already have a connection with that. Suppose if you are connecting with new Gmail account, Google account, then we'll have to create new connection using this new function. Then you need to authenticate. Anyhow, I already created. I'm just going to use. Sorry, just came back. Google Sheet. Next, add zero. Here I already have a connection. I'm just using same connection only. This variable, any information come from this sheet that will store in this variable. Using this variable in going forward in the another steps, we can use that information. Yeah, to connect that specific worksheet, this is the ID. Each and every Google Sheet will have some unique ID. They are expecting that for integration purpose. If you click here, how to get this spreadsheet ID, you can able to understand that. But anyhow, I'm just showing you directly here. This is my input sheet. In URL after D up to edit, this is the key. I'm just copying directly and pasting here. If I search here, automatically I'll get that sheet reference details. Okay. Here there are multiple sheets. There is a response sheet. Just I need to take response sheet information only. Here there is a filter option. Just moving this to top. Filter criteria. Using this filter criteria, just location equals Bangalore. We'll double check once that value is same. Okay. Configure it. Now, if any record submitted in Google spreadsheet, if that within that record that location field match with Bangalore, then that value will trigger to the respective targeted sheets. Now I just taken that input. Now I wanted to transfer to another Google sheet. See here Google sheet is there. If you search here in apps section, you can able to get it. create row, create spreadsheet, fetch row, fetch update. Here I wanted to create row in that new Bangalore spreadsheet. They add a connection. Here I want to get Bangalore spreadsheet key. This is the key. It's taken in sheet 1 only. Here I didn't added any field names. Contact name, client name, then mobile number I need to capture, and their email ID, their requirement. These fields I need to capture. Just check. See, now it is automatically fetching that field names also from sheet 1. Contact name. From these are all the steps and modules will update here. You can use these fields and you can easily tag it. Contact name, client name. See how this is very simple and very much useful application. My requirement. Here when is row updated, it will update here. Then using that row update information, I am updating into this new Bangalore worksheet. If that's a Bangalore. See, this is done. Suppose if you want to trigger on notification, email notification also. In logic section, there is an option notification. You can create a notification. Just adding new lead, contact name. They will get email notification also with all the informations. See how simple it is. Yeah. Here, if you see the flow, number 1, it will identify if any new record added in that contact sheet. The second one, if it is any new record added, then it will go and create new record in that Bangalore worksheet. Third one, it will send email notification to that respective person. Yes, I'm just switching on this flow. Until now, any doubts, I'm just going and creating flow. Simply, I'm showing steps. In between, if you have any doubts, questions, or any other information is required, just let me know. I'm just pausing for a minute before triggering that record. I'll tell you many use cases how it will help for many organizations. Just try to understand this, at least simple steps and method, how it is working. Then I'll give you many use cases you can apply in your company for your daily activities or your further automations. Yeah, okay. We'll go and create one record. This is my contact form. I'm just going and creating a new record. Just I am filling with minimal information. See here, contact name is Venu, mobile number, email ID, company name, location Bangalore, because this is one key one. Now we wanted to transfer this information to the specific Bangalore of sheet. Then my requirement is GST consultation. So if I submit here, it has to transfer to first one. We'll see here it is updated or not. Yeah, it's updated. The second record in our regular contact form. Now we'll check in Bangalore whether it is updated or not. It's updated. This is our first record. Second record not yet came. That is requirement in GST consultation, because it will take minimum time. For few applications, they will real time they will transfer. For few applications, they will take a minute to 5 minutes time. I'll show you here for this one. They will display here. 5 minutes they will take to transfer that information. Anyhow, I'm just triggering manually here. This is the information. Hope it is transferred. Here also we can able to check. Anyhow, let us check here the new record is came or not. Here new record has added output. Then create. Okay, there is a version limitation. That's okay, no problem. But we'll check the record has came or not. Give me a second. See, now this record has came. I'll show you the steps also, the history also from here. See, these are all executed. This how it is executed also I'll show you. Number one, input has came and output. These are all the information. It's transferred to the Bangalore sheet. With these are all the informations. Okay, this is how it will transfer information to other applications. Now within Google account, from one worksheet to another worksheet, we transferred it. Now we'll try to transfer the same information from this application to Zoho Books and Zoho CRM itself. I'm just closing. Let it be this one also required. See here, I'm just going to, this is the Zoho Books. Here I'm having Zoho CRM. In Zoho Books, there is a customer master. Currently, there are 3 customers. Now we'll try to integrate with the same information when they submit through contact form. Just I wanted to create that as a customer also in Zoho Books and in Zoho CRM as a lead to track or connect with customers by our sales team. We have to transfer that information to CRM application. We'll connect these 2 applications using this information by flow. Okay, again I'm just okay, anyhow we'll go and use the same flow only. No need to go and create multiple. Anyhow, there is a limitation in my release. Delete this one. The first thing, once any record is come, it will transfer to that Bangalore sheet. Otherwise, if there is another sheet, we can transfer to other sheets also. Anyhow, we'll go with Bangalore now. Or else, for your better understanding, I'll create one more. That is less time. Quickly, I'll finish. Hyderabad spreadsheet. Come to flow. Create one more thing. Here you just add that key. It will come that new Hyderabad also. Yeah, this way it won't work. I'll show you a bit different method here. Here we are filtering Bangalore, right? Instead of this, clear filter. We'll take all the records to flow. Then we'll add a condition here. There is a decision option. We can use decision. Here we can apply multiple conditions. Location contains Bangalore. Then we'll create a record. Then location contains Hyderabad. If Hyderabad, It is Hyderabad, then we need to create similar kind of create action. Here client name, contact name, email ID, mobile number, requirement. This will go and create in Bangalore. If it is matching with Hyderabad, this will go and create it in Hyderabad. Okay. Now I want to transfer this information along with these sheets into books also. Yeah, I'll go and select Zoho books. There is another 15 minutes. I'm going to max cover all features. Here, if you see, there are many actions. Here, I want to create customer, create vendor, create customer. Yeah, create customer is there. See, it's already connection is there. As I told you, whenever you want to connect with different books, you'll have to create connection. But I already have a connection. I'm just using same thing here. Connect Zoho books. This one-time activity. In Zoho books, that organization name is Venu demo company is showing already. Subtype there are. I'll show you from here the form customer creation form. See here, contact customer type business and individual, primary contact, company name, display name. There are some mandatory informations and sections are there. Anyhow, we have very minimal information. Using that minimal information, we'll try to create customer. Here I'm just selecting first name, last name, company name, display name, also company name. Have email ID, you can add email ID, mobile number. There will be some description. Okay, leave it, no problem. Just I added few minimal information to create customer. Yeah, from here also we can connect directly to. See, if it is Bangalore or Hyderabad, both will come and create in Zoho Books as a customer. Now we'll try to create one record and we'll check whether it will come or not. Then we'll connect with CRM application. Yeah, this is my contact application. Here I can go and create. You can publish this form in your website or social media wherever you want. Through email also you can communicate. The customers, yeah, there is one chat. Google Sheet is used for client creation to transfer the information to inter branches. Yes, this is just one use case. I'm showing how the Zoho flow is working, how that will help for our application to application integrations. You can use for many your internal requirements for best for automations. Just I'll give you a small example. If you're a service-based company, if you're giving service to your customers, number one, your customer will come and inquire through email, social media. There are many verbal also. They will come. Number one, the contact person from your company, they will go and fill this minimal information in Google form. then it will go and sit into Google Sheet, number one. Number two, you can transfer that information to your respective sales team or concern business head or the department head. That information, that is number one, information related. Number two, if you have a process to find create a customer in between, if you want to take a NDA sign document, then you can integrate Zoho sign also. Automatically Zoho Flow will send NDA document to your customer, or if you have any other scope of work document, you can Zoho Flow will trigger the document to your customer. Both can using Zoho sign. I'm not saying only Zoho Flow. Zoho Flow will trigger the document using the templates of your NDA or statement of work to your customers. They can open and sign using Zoho sign. It is also integrated with Zoho Flow with the documents. That will be in your folder somewhere in your Google Drive, OneDrive. You can integrate the document also, or Zoho also will provide Zoho Work Drive. There you can save the documents, signed documents. That kind of integrations and workflows you can design using Zoho. Here I'm just showing application to application how we can transfer, how it is integrating, how easily we can drag and drop that fields and we can transfer that information. Here also, if you see, it's not a simple thing I'm showing. This is a little bit advanced method only. Just our customer is coming and filling that information, or our representative is filling that information. In single information, I'm transferring into inter branches. For example, somebody is coming from Bangalore. Bangalore. Their request is came from Bangalore. Now you can simply transfer that information to Google Sheet to just analyze or for their maintenance, their tracking purpose. That is very minimal tracker. The second thing, if you have a application of CRM, you can transfer that information to CRM to create on lead. Then automatically sales team can notify there is a lead. They can go and connect with your customers. There is a process, maybe XYZ process, creating proposals, sending proposals and negotiations, then NDA, scope document finalization, finally customer, the scope finalization, then maybe they will come as your customer. There is there will be a lengthy process. You can create complete process using Zoho Flow for each and every triggers and notifications alerts. You understood, right? Within that also you can create some there are many use cases. Now I'm just giving this one high level view for your better understanding. Is it okay? Any further clarification, you just ping it through chat. Yeah, here we integrated now taking this contact form, we just integrated with Bangalore worksheet and also Hyderabad worksheet. If any of one, it will transfer to your Zoho books and it customer. Again, it will save your time. Then if required, you can send that notification to your finance team also. They will get notified, okay, there is a new lead. It's created in Zoho books as a customer. Again, this will save more time of the data entry. No need to fill all the informations again. That way you can save more time. The same thing you can transfer to some other application. If you want to create as a project, there is a project management application. Windows project management application is there. There are external many applications are there. In Zoho also there is a project management application. You can transfer that to your project management application as a create one project in that application. You can assign that to respective team. Within that also, if there is any plus and minuses timelines, you can track that. You can trigger notifications and transfer that information to the respective teams. Or if the project is completed, the stage which you want to create a tax invoices, you can create that actions based on that timelines and project completion status. It will create tax invoices in books automatically. Then it will send a notification and a tax invoice to your customer. There also you can set a credit limit period, maybe 20 days, 30 days, 40 days. That will identify based on 30 days is received or not. Again, it will trigger notification to your customer. We still didn't receive that money. It's already overdue amount. Then the same thing you can loop into your representative within the organization. They will also get notification. Or you can create an exceptional report of that this week and last week and next week. collections, that also will trigger automatically. The complete your business workflow you can create based on your requirement as a flow that will trigger automatically. You no need to go and check, filter, and dial, discuss with your customer, not required. Automatically system will trigger all the notifications, alerts, or required reports, or required data entry also. It will automatically trigger. Okay, this is how the Zoho flow or Power Automate, Make, Kiss flow. There are many applications will do. You can automate your complete work max to max. It will automate. Yeah, here one more thing, they given one custom script option also. Suppose if there is an application limitation, you can write a script. If you know basic knowledge on scripting using Python, Dlang, there are many other platforms also. You can integrate with Zoho. Using that one, you can create your workflow and trigger notifications or actions. You can transfer your data also. Yeah, anyhow, here we created one workflow. When I received that information to our contact form, automatically I'm just transferring to, if it is a Bangalore worksheet, then Hyderabad. Anyone is there, then it will transfer to Zoho Box. We'll try to create one record here. I thought I already created. No, right? Sorry. I'm just giving with minimal information. I'm submitting here. With single submit, I can able to transfer that information to Hyderabad worksheet, and also I'm able to transfer to Zoho Books, and I can able to create as a customer. See, it's updated here. Number one. Now we'll see in Hyderabad spreadsheet whether it is updated or not. Yeah, it will take 5 minutes, right? We will trigger it because of our time limitations. Yeah, there is a. So you can do conclusion, please. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe I can finish by another 2 minutes. It's already done. It's transferred complete information. Number one, it's identified the new record, then it's taken decision of that Hyderabad or Bangalore. Condition name Bangalore, evaluated Bangalore has successfully evaluated. Oh, Hyderabad, right? JN is created in. We'll check in contacts. See, it's came VNV Bangalore in Zoho Books also. This is how we can automate using Zoho Flow end to end. Yeah. Any doubts until now? Yeah, I hope this session is useful to all. Maybe you can try to practice this one or try to use this one. There are many kind of automation tools out there. You just try to use in your organization and save more time. Suppose if you are using Tally also, if you want to take that information from Google Sheet to Tally, or Tally to Google Sheet, or another application to Tally, Tally to Google Sheet, XYZ, you can use small tools, or you connect with some experts. They will give you with minimal time. They will give you the automation tools are set up. You can use effectively. That's what my conclusion. Thank you so much, Venu sir and Rajesh sir, giving this opportunity. I'm done from my end, sir. Thank you. Any doubts you can ask participants. Thank you.